I love you. Well, gentlefolk, ladies and men, thank you for coming back to the couch with us today. I was almost about to break into the song, but I didn't. I reversed real quick. But it's time. We're so happy to have you back to the couch so that you could forget reality. It's all just an amalgamation of systemic programs and procedures. Anyways, it's icky. It just feeds on you. So just kick back, let it all go, forget about the real world, and listen to us talk about the Matrix. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh,
and I am a program. But you don't have to worry about me, and we'll get more into what the programs do in later movies. I guess this is a playlist.
Ooh, it is indeed a new playlist.
Yeah, what do I kinda?
Oh, I was gonna say you kind of do seem you're very similar to Agent Smith, at least in the second and third films. Yeah, you really. Oh man, yeah. Were you like the first program for him? Is that like is the government working from you to him, or is it from him to you?
Oh well, I mean,
are you even related?
I'm not really supposed to tell how much the Matrix is influenced by truth. Because, well, for one, I don't want to hurt the audience's brains,
Yeah, it gets confusing.
It does, yeah. They have to make that choice, that classic red pill, blue pill choice.
And I gotta tell you guys, if you choose the red pill, like, Zion is just as sucky as it seems in the movie, so, like, you're best just staying in the Matrix.
Why not just operate from in here? Honestly, things later in the series make me not want to do that. So, we're talking about the Mattress, and it is it's a good movie from a long time ago. This is my childhood.
Turn of the century.
This is literally, I was 7. And I'm pretty sure I didn't see it when I was 7. I'm pretty sure that I was not allowed to. But I did eventually.
I remember it being very popular in school. I remember like hearing the older kids talk about it. I definitely didn't see it in theaters.
No.
But I feel like it wasn't very long after release that we just rented it. Right. I just don't remember when that would have been. I don't remember how old I would have been, but like I don't think my parents were worried about this movie.
You remember me talking about my stepmom, right? From long ago. So, this was one of the movies that she was certain God was talking to her through. Yeah, so this one was actually in my house and had a lot of watches, and I was not mad about it. Like, yeah, this movie's awesome. What I did get mad about was when she decided to study it and, like, would pause it and watch the same scene over and over again. That'd be something.
And I'm assuming it wasn't the fight scenes?
No. Typically not. No.
Yeah, it was the more exposition-heavy... Yeah. The scientific dump scenes, as I call them.
I do recall now that she read Dianetics at one point just because she was curious, and then she burnt the book. So, good choice on that one, I guess.
Yeah, she read Simulacra and Simulations by the French philosopher. I don't remember what's his fuck. I have it written down somewhere. Jean Baudrillard. That's that's the book that most of the themes of the Matrix comes from. Lily and Lana Wachowski. They are our directors and writers. I love them. Right. They are great directors. I'll talk a little bit more about them soon, but they forced everyone on set, maybe just the actors. It might have just been the actors, but they forced all of them. Their homework was to read and understand Simulacra and Simulations by Jean Baudrillard, and be able to explain the plot of The Matrix if asked about it.
Oh God!
They ensured that the actors had to get this, and like some of the actors were just like, "Oh my God, this is a struggle," because like. But we'll get into the theology of the Matrix here soon. But it is something. It is a heady concept.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the movie that I'm the most familiar with. Because I guess God wasn't talking to her in the other two movies because we didn't watch those.
Well, no, yeah. The other two, even though they go more in depth into the themes.
So anyhow, this movie, we have Neo, played by the immortal Keanu Reeves, and he is a computer programmer, hacker, super genius kind of guy, and he goes down the rabbit hole, we'll say, following this like command that came through his computer.
Yeah.
And he meets Trinity, played by Carrie-Anne Moss, who then leads him to Morpheus, played by Lawrence Fishburne. And then we have the iconic scene where he has to choose the pill. And what happens... Well, the pill is just a metaphor that they're going to tell you that immediately.
That's the beauty of this movie. It's very upfront. It's on the nose about things. They even do that with the fourth one, Matrix Rebooted. They have a very hilarious Resurrections. Thank you. Yeah, they have a very on the nose scene, but it's even more funny in that. And I can't wait to talk about that.
They have a couple more on the nose scenes for that one.
Yeah.
So Morpheus and Trinity reveal to Neo that the world in which he lives is just a simulation. I feel like I'm not ruining anything for anybody. That is the plot of the Matrix. The pie is a lie. And then there is also a lot of talk about Neo being the one who is going to save these human crops for the machines. From the machines.
Yeah, and if you need any evidence that he is indeed the one, you just scramble his name, Neo, and you'll find the one in there.
Oh my God! I never noticed.
What? Yeah, it's hilarious. It's. I mean, that's the Wachowskis. They're very specifically around the Matrix. They weren't trying to make this concept any harder than it had to be to accept. It's all presented so very simply, and I love them for it.
It's one of the movies that we could safely say changed cinema. I think this really described what movies were in the 2000s, especially if they were in the vein of sci-fi. So it's a very important flick, and I gotta say, I'm sure there's people who have gone on and on about The Matrix because it is that iconic of a film. But there should be some things that we could talk about just to get our opinion out there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't want to beat a dead horse either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I've never gotten to talk about it, so at the same time, I don't give a damn that other people have talked about it. I'm gonna fucking talk about it.
Well, there you go. Okay.
But any cyberpunk sci-fi has basically been trying to emulate what the Matrix pulled off.
Sure.
They're iconic for bullet time. So immediate shout out to John Gaeta and I can't remember if Bill Pope was the cinematographer for this one or the next one.
Oh, I'll look it up.
Yeah, let me know who the cinematographer is. Bill Pope, awesome. Bill Pope. Yeah, John Gaeta did the visual effects. So bullet time, if you're not familiar, it's when a bullet's coming at Neo, and he basically moves faster than time, and they slow down everything around him while he's moving at a similar speed as to real time.
Right.
And how they did that, there was already bullet time technique that was already being used. I don't know if it was called bullet time at the time, when Matrix came out, but Matrix made it bullet time, if not. But they surround the subject, typically it's Neo, with cameras, like hundreds of cameras.
Yeah.
And in all those cameras take numerous photos, fractions of a second after each other, and it basically makes this one moment into like 12,000 frames per second.
Yeah.
Which your typical frame per second is like 24 or 48. I can't remember what's being used nowadays. But it's much, much, much more than your normal capturing of a scene. And then they would just, they would edit out all the cameras. They would do some visual effect works in the back. John Gaeta, again, amazing job. But it's beautiful. And it definitely improved, kind of slow-mo technology, I would say, for films and how they utilized it.
To give this just a little bit more of a visual picture, I always get the image of a mini-armed god when they do the bullet time stuff, because there's these after images for when they move. Like you gave like a frame per second for it, but I feel like some people might not quite get what that means. But there's so many pictures crammed into one moment that there's all these after images that are following the Neo specifically when he slows down time in this way. It's pretty cool.
And it's fucking beautiful. I love how they did it. Specifically in this movie, it still holds up. It's like a 23-year-old movie now. And
oh God.
I don't know, you go back and you watch Terminator, which, changed a lot for action cinema back in 1980 or whatever. I can't remember the year it came out. But you go back to that, and the CGI is a little goofy. It's very dated. And like, the Terminator's moving around when he's been burnt, and it's just the metal frame, and it's kind of just goofy, and you're laughing at it a bit. This one, it still holds up really well. They have a lot of scenes where, pedestrians within the Matrix, within this simulation, they'll come across I don't know what you would call Neo's crew.
They're the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar.
That's right, yeah.
And we should maybe
Morpheus's
talk about
ship.
Yeah, we should maybe even give them a shout out. We got Cypher, played by Joe Pantoliano. We have Tank, played by Marcus Chong. We have APOC, played by Julian Arahanga. Mouse by Matt Doran. Switch by Belinda McClory. And Dozer, I believe, is the final, played by Anthony Ray Parker.
Nice. Yeah, and I sadly forgot what I was saying before that.
I'm sorry.
You're okay. But like, whenever Neo's crew, the Nebuchadnezzar crew, if they're in the Matrix, and like there's a pedestrian nearby, the agents of the Matrix, like the computer, I don't know what their metaphor specifically is, like the kind of like virus protectors and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Matrix immune system, antibodies.
Yeah, and they will take over the nearby pedestrians to go after the Nebuchadnezzar crew. And when they do that, like the actor who's playing the pedestrian, their face will just like morph and like shift, and it's hilarious, and it kind of stretches like one of those Armstrong dolls,
right?
And then it snaps into the Adrian's face, and those effects are still good.
It still works.
Goofy.
I think why it still works so well is because it breaks reality, and this is a virtual reality we're dealing with, so that's why it really still works, because it looks fake. I feel like there's times later in the series where they go a little bit more over the top with the effects, and it doesn't work, even though you're in this fake reality. For me,
right?
Anyways.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's very it. Not to say it gets old, but they utilize that kind of idea a little too much later on.
But it really works in this one. I don't really have any problem with the effects in this one.
No, I don't either. It's fucking just beautiful. And so with Neo being the one, what that basically means is he is like prophesied by another computer program known as the Oracle.
Right.
She has prophesied that Neo will save everyone from the Matrix. I don't know the specific prophecy. I just know he's like a Jesus figure.
Oh yeah, he's definitely the savior allegory, which is why it was watched so much in my household. And
right.
I would say that the prophecy was that he was supposed to be the one who could control the Matrix. I think that was it, and that was supposed to be.
And in doing so, would he free everybody?
Yes, I believe that's what they're hinting at, but I think they kind of muddy it in the next couple ones, so that's hard to say. I always fucking forget the mumbo jumbo of the film. Like, it's still very entertaining, but there are a lot of exposition dump scenes throughout the whole franchise that I'm just kind of like, okay. But even, like, when I'm watching it, I'm totally good with it, but I don't retain all that information. It's just...
Right, I don't retain it all, especially not after... Like, I've watched this movie a lot, but, like, it's not something I retain much of the, as I call it, the mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it. But at the same time, again, it's not uninteresting. It's very, very fascinating the first time you watch it. I mean, which I'm pretty sure most of our listeners have probably watched this film. But like when you hear about all of it, it's kind of just like, yeah, I can get it in the moment. I can get it. I can understand. But I don't know. I don't philosophize upon it afterwards.
Sure.
I forgot where I was going with that again.
I'm not sure. But you know what? One of my favorite things to do is philosophicate. I love it. I also love just making up words and then not being able to say them right.
Philosophicate?
Philosophicate, yeah. So, The Matrix. There's a lot of philosophicating going on. And I don't want to give anything away if you truly haven't seen this movie. I mean, we talked about the majority of the plot. We should maybe mention... You mentioned the agents, but we didn't really talk about Hugo Weaving.
No, we haven't. Oh my god, I love him.
So we should talk about Hugo.
Yeah, he's pretty... he brings a weird humor to the film that's also kind of intimidating.
Yeah, he is so intense as Agent Smith, particularly in this
Mr. Anderson.
And I think it's also because he's still quite young in this movie. So, like, when I was rewatching it, I was remembering his face from the other two movies, but it's not. It's this little young Hugo face. And and it's even more very intense handsome. Somehow. It's more intense.
It really is. Yeah. And it even makes sense. Like, I mean, he doesn't like look too much older in the next two, but I mean, he has, somewhat aged, but I don't know, it makes sense in the next two also that he would look a little older just because of, and we'll talk it when we get there, of course.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. But here, it's really kind of intimidating because he also kind of seems like a mad program. Like he's a little bit more driven than the other ones. The other ones are just like, well, we gotta stop Neo, and he's just like, I need to kill Neo.
I need to kill him. Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. I love
just how he
Agent
says those
Smith.
words.
Yes. He really heightened the character, which really worked for this program. And Agent Smith, he stands out from the other programs, like you said, and I think that that's very interesting, and it's the first look at that concept, really, because we're not really told what I feel like what the Oracle is at this point.
Yeah.
But it's the first look
at that. That is a second movie reveal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's okay. That's okay, I think.
Oops.
But I do feel like it's our very, very first look that these programs kind of have a personality of their own.
Yeah.
And that's really like a big focus of the later films. So I kind of appreciate that it's already built in there.
Yeah, it's a nice implanting of that idea. And his whole character in this, and the action scenes too, because I'm sure they had stunt doubles, of course, but it does seem like most of them did their own fighting. They were all. I want to give a shout out to the choreographer, Lana and Lily Wachowski. They were really inspired by Japanese animation and martial arts films. And so they really wanted to bring that kind of idea into the fighting of this. So they hired a fight choreographer, Yuen Woo Ping, and he worked with all of the main actors like specifically. So this is just ripped completely from Wikipedia. So stick with me. But he worked with each actor's specific strengths. So Keanu Reeves was in an accident, or he had an operation, I guess, to fix a previous herniated disc. And after that operation, he wasn't supposed to do much kicking. So there's a lot less kicking from Keanu Reeves in this film than in the next two.
Yes,
but there is still some
in the next two. I was going to say, I remember a particular scene where he kicks in his legs up there for a little bit.
Yeah. but Yuen Woo Ping worked with Reeves' diligence, because Reeves was constantly like, I can do this, I can do more, let me do more. Even though I'm recovering from a surgery, I want to do more. And it's just like, that's the kind of actor he is. He always wants to keep the challenge going, which I respect. So the choreographer worked with that. Fishburne, he says he worked with Fishburne's resilience. He worked with Hugo Weaving's precision and Carrie-Anne Moss's grace. So he tried to work all of that into their fight choreography. And it really does just kind of come across just really well, because the fight scenes in this movie are phenomenal. They are so fun.
They're so good.
And and the Wachowskis utilized I think it's called wire. Let me find wire fu. It's called wire fu, which is a Hong Kong cinema thing where it's like people are flying in the air kind of thing, and they're just hovering there for a long time. It's wire fu. They use wires, and it's so fun. I love these kind of fight scenes. These are the kind of martial arts films that I love. A little
taste of the impossible. It's great for movies. And there are some just great fighting scenes with all the characters. But man, I really love watching Lawrence Fishburne fight. And I have to make an apology right now, because it's been over a year that we've been doing this job, and also just a long, long time of me appreciating Mr. Fishburne's stuff. And I just noticed that it's Fishburne and not Fishborn, so I really apologize.
Honestly, I've always written it down as Fishburne, I've always written it down as Fishborn, crossed it out, and then written Fishburne. And then not known which way to pronounce it, because I've heard so many people introduce him on shows.
Maybe it is Fishborn, and it's just spelled with the U, and I've just spelt it wrong. Well, but either way, I have apologize for not knowing. His name is Lawrence Fishburne III, also.
Ooh. But it's fun, because they all have there are specific fight styles that they switch between, and I think Fishburne, sorry, Lawrence, his fight style changes, like how he shifts between them is just like I don't know, there's something so fascinating about it, because you can see him changing his styles. Like The others still, you can kind of pull it, like, see it when they do it if you're, if you watch it enough or if you're just paying attention during Keanu Reeves scenes. But, like, I think Lawrence is the one who broadcasts those shifts the best because you just, he's kind of training Neo and you can watch it and, I mean, I don't know, you might be able to learn from it, but you can watch and learn. Like,
you're not going to be able to do what they do, okay, people?
No.
For one, wires. For two, you can't just learn it in 30 seconds in a simulation. I'm sorry.
No, sadly not. But that fight scene, the training scene between Neo and Morpheus, that's like one of the best in the movie. I love them in the little dojo where they just like tear that crap apart.
That's a pretty fun scene. And they come back to it later on too. It's pretty good. Should we do closing statements?
Yes, I think I am absolutely ready. I want to say up front, before I give my score and everything, Will Smith made a terrible choice. He was approached initially as Neo.
That honestly could have worked really well.
Yeah, and in that version, Val Kilmer would have been Morpheus. So it kind of would have been a very weirdly interesting film.
I don't know. I would have been better with Lawrence and Will together.
Yeah, I mean, I love Keanu Reeves. I'm happy with what we got.
Yes, I'm happy with what we got.
It would have been very interesting, though, if Will Smith had been Neo. But he turned it down. You want to know what movie he turned it down for?
Is it Men in Black?
No.
What is it?
Wild West.
Oh, no, Will.
Will, why? Such an awful choice. But no, I just wanted to say that because I thought that was a very hilarious tidbit that I found out when I was researching his film. But yeah, I don't have any flaws really with this movie. The acting is fun. Like, people can talk about Keanu Reeves being like wooden or, he's just being Keanu Reeves, but like, I love him in this role.
I think it works for Neo because anybody could put themselves on that blank canvas that he provides for us. I don't really actually feel that way. I really like Keanu, and I like watching most stuff that he's in. So,
yeah, I only mention it because I've heard people say that, and I never get it because I always love Keanu Reeves. I think he's fucking fun. Yeah. I'm not gonna say he's the best actor out there, no, but he always has so much fun with his roles, and you can tell it. And I love him as Neo. I think I like Trinity more than both Morpheus and Neo. Carrie-Anne Moss is so much fun, and she just gets better and better.
Yeah. I do particularly like her in this film and in the last film. That last film was amazing with her, I think.
You talking rebooted? Number 4?
Yes. Rebooted.
But I don't know. This first one is a fabulous start. It gets 4 stars. It's a very fun, very easily rewatchable film. And yes, God might speak to you through it. So I understand. I understand your stepmother.
So if you think God speaks to you, this is a movie that you're going to enjoy. I give it a face. I don't know if I give it a face and a half. I've watched it enough that maybe. I don't know. I feel like it is great, but maybe, I don't know. I don't necessarily care for everything that was just so exploded from the imagery in this movie. If it was just contained to this movie, I think I would enjoy it a lot more. But that's not, I guess, a critique of the movie.
But I feel like though, if there is confusion in your heart about whether it's a 1.5 star or 1.5 face or not, face and a half, Jesus, then I think that in and of itself just makes it a face, right?
That's right. It's just a face. It's really good. I definitely have watched it a million times and will watch it more. So there you go. We didn't really talk about the crew very much, but we have to leave something for you guys to go watch and experience.
Exactly. And there's still 3 more. We got the Matrix coming at you for a whole month.
That's
well,
right.
Not within a month, but across the span of a month. Yeah. Whatever. I think that's the show. I've been the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I've been the Faceless Leon. Thank you so much for listening. Safe travels, and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the FictionWorks 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.